الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فأخرج إمام مسلم في صحيحه عن تميم الداري رضي الله عنه أن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام قال الدين النصيحة. فقال تميم الداري قلنا يعني الصحابة رضي عنهم لمن يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم؟ فقال لله ولكتابه ولرسوله وأئمة المسلمين وعامتهم. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in this beautiful hadith reported by Imam Muslim in his Sahih and many other Imam and ulama from the scholars of Islam, the scholars of Hadith reported this hadith. The reason I mentioned Sahih Muslim is so that you know it's authentic. We don't need to discuss the chain of it and so on. On the authority of Tamim Al-Dari radiyallahu anhu, Sahabi, he says Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he told us ad-dinu Naseehah. The religion is Naseehah. Many of us take the word Naseehah in the way we use it in linguistics today. Instead of understanding it in the context of the hadith, we take it the way we would use it. Like we say, give the brother Naseehah. What do we mean? Advise him. But Lisan al-Arab, the famous dictionary and more lexicon almost discusses Naseehah. فقال خلاص يعني الشيء خالص مخلص. When you have something that is pure and sincere, when you want good, when you want a sincere advice, we call it Naseehah. Not when you're just trying to refute somebody or you're trying to make a rad or you're trying to, no. The religion is that sincerity. Now, when we make a statement today, most people, they just take it in one ear, out the other. That's how we are. We hear a beautiful lecture, but we kind of daydream through it. And whatever we don't understand, we're too shy to ask. And what we do ask is more to flex what we know. You get people have a question. What's your question? I read in Tabari that this is the meaning and this. Where's the question? You just wanted to give your own lecture. But the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, they were not like this. They were very different. When they heard something, they wanted to implement it. They wanted to truly understand it. They weren't shy to say, what does that mean? They didn't feel the necessity to explain over Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like they didn't come and say, Naseehah means, and then you're like, this is the way we are today. Either we don't want to ask or we want to flex our own knowledge. A'udhu billah. And then we wonder why we don't take the fa'idah, why we don't take benefit from the knowledge. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, "La yadkhul al-jannah," the person, nobody will enter Jannah. Man kana, whoever has mithqalan, even the example of darratan min al-kibr, even a smallest speck of pride in their heart, fi qalbihi, and in their heart. The Sahaba didn't just take this and leave it. No, they said, "Ya Rasulullah, one of us likes nice clothes, nice shoes." Like they evaluated themselves immediately. They didn't say, "No, my heart's clean, I'm good." Or they didn't say, "Oh, this other person should listen to this." Today when we hear a lecture, the first person that comes to our mind is somebody else. Man, if this sister heard this or this brother want to send it to them, we don't even listen to it. You see the title? You're like, you know who needs this? Oh, you need it and I need it. So Sahaba immediately, they took it on themselves. So they would ask, "Ya Rasulullah, one of us likes nice clothes, nice shoes, nice things. Is this mean we have kibr?" So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained it. He says, "No, kibr is when you reject the truth. Like the haqq comes from the Qur'an, hadith, you reject it. No, I don't want to listen to it. I'm going to make a video against it. Very easy to sit in your bathroom and make videos against people. Why? Because you don't want to accept the truth. When the Qur'an, the Sahih hadith are established, no. So this is kibr. Not wearing nice clothes. Not wearing nice shoes. And to look down upon others. Like when you say somebody, and you say, yeah, I'm better than them. I'm this lineage, I'm this race, I have this kind of a car, I have this kind of a job, and you look down on others, that's kibr. Allah protect us. Yeah. But the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they were very clear in questioning, in asking to implement. So when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them, ad-din al-Naseehah, the religion is sincerity, they didn't just leave it at that. They understood the linguistics of it. I had to explain from Lisan al-Arab, but the Sahaba didn't need that. They were the best fasih, they're baligh, they were very eloquent in their Arabic. But they wanted to understand, how do we implement that? Who do we give this sincerity to? So then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained, lillahi. I'm going to take it step by step. Al-Khattabi, he has a very beautiful explanation of this, and Nawawi also explained it. Ibn Rajab obviously has. I'm not going to go through each one, I'm just going to give you the summary of it. But if you want to read more, get Jami' al-Ulum al-Hikam of Ibn Rajab, or one of those books that really gets into this in deep depth. But to understand, how can you be sincere to Allah? Obviously, if we take the word Naseehah to mean advice, then already this doesn't make sense, right? That's why we go back to the actual meaning of the word. Tell you, what is sincerity towards Allah? Al-Nawawi, Al-Khattabi, Ibn Rajab, all of them explain. They said, first thing, to establish the Tawheed. That you know that it's the haqq of Allah, that none is worshipped but Allah. So when you see something other than Allah being worshipped, it should anger you. You should say, this is against. You're taking the haqq of Allah, giving it to the one in the grave, a saint, or an idol, or a prophet, or a sahabi, or a donkey, or a cow, or a monkey. I went to a country, I won't mention the name. It's a country between Bangladesh and Pakistan. And I was there in 1996. And I saw something strange. I was coming out of the airport, and I was in a rickshaw. They have rickshaws in this country. And a cow stopped and started to urinate. And a Hindu man, ran to the cow right away and started to splash that urine on themselves. I was like, A'udhu Billah, what is this? I was shocked. I was 18, I was young. I was shocked. I had never seen anything like it. I got upset. What is this? And the rickshaw driver, who was Muslim, told me, shh, don't say anything. Why? He says, no, you'll cause a riot, don't say anything. What do you mean? Look at this is disgusting, this is insane. And then a cow stopped in the street, and all traffic stopped. Now I had somewhere to go. I had to meet people, things to do. I don't have time to waste. So I'm telling them, what's going on? Why is the traffic? Is there an accident? He said, no. You see that cow? It stopped. Well, kick it. Move it nicely. I don't know. Say please. Hey, we got place. He says, no, you can't say anything. It will sit there as long as it wants to sit. Whenever it gets up, traffic will pick up. Man, I was worse than LA. No offense to the brothers from LA. Yeah. So this was something shocking to me. So I was talking to the rickshaw driver, who was Muslim. I told him, when you guys see this, doesn't it upset you? Don't you feel like how could there be human beings worshipping a cow that could make really nice burgers and steaks and ribs and all that, right? You have human beings worshipping rats. You have human beings worshipping monkeys. You have don't you have ghira towards this? And he was like, no, this is theirs, this was not ours, doesn't matter, we're all the same and it's okay. And I said, this is the problem amongst living amongst kuffar and letting that affect you. This is the problem that gets to be, and this is, I'm giving as a warning sign for us in America, or in Canada and America and Mexico and North America, is we are getting affected by the same thing. We are getting to a point where interfaith doesn't mean sharing the message of Islam or giving da'wah. Interfaith has become to mean now that you sit on a panel and some mushrik lesbian priestess sits next to you and you say, you're good. Yeah. Nice rainbow. I'm going to get kicked out of Canada. And then you sit next, turn to the other rabbi there and you're like, hey, we got kosher donuts. Great. And then you say, well, we're all going to the same place. No. Well, maybe you, inshallah, not us. Inshallah, we're going to Jannah, and the Jannah is a place for the muttaqeen and the people of Tawheed and the people of Qur'an and Sunnah, and the only deen in Allah is Islam. But when we lose that ghira, when we lose that ikhlas, then we lose that naseehah for Allah, that when we see shirk, when we see people worshipping other than Allah, and it doesn't upset us, then we've forgotten this part of the hadith. We have to say no. If somebody is making dua to other than Allah, if somebody, today, if somebody says, Ya Ali, give me a child. Ya Ali, you are the one that solves all the hardships. Ya Ali, help me in this hardship. Ya Ali, protect me. Ya Ali, even when they're getting up, Ya Ali, Ya Hussein, when they're asking for anything, right? Today people tell us, this is a Muslim. Why are you dividing the ummah? This is a mu'min. This is this, this is that. And we tell them, no, akhi. If that was a Muslim, then why is a Christian not Muslim? When a Christian believes in God, but what do they say about God? They say, well, you pray to Jesus. Pray in Jesus' name. Tell you, when they say that, they're like, well, that's not a Muslim. Okay, why not? Because they worship other than Allah. Okay. So when you make dua to Ali, how are you Muslim? Radiallahu anhu. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam قال الدعاء والعبادة. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us in Sahih hadith that when you supplicate, that is worship. So when you make dua to Ali radiallahu anhu, you're worshipping him. When you make dua, and then the trick comes, no, we're not praying to him. Well, it pretty much sounds like it. When you say, Ya Ali, give me a nusra, pretty much sounds like you're supplicating to him, So if you take that to be Islam, then the Christian that worships the Prophet of Allah, Isa ibn Maryam was a Prophet of Allah, then why is he not Muslim? If Ali radiallahu anhu, we love Ali radiallahu anhu, he's a Sahabi, Amir al-Mu'mineen, from the 10 giving glad tidings of Jannah, we love him. But we don't worship him. As we love Isa ibn Maryam, but we don't worship him. Alayhi salatu wassalam. We love Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but we don't worship him either. We worship none but Allah. And we tolerate the worship of none but Allah. And we're satisfied with the worship of none but Allah. And we believe that this is the hukm, the sharia of Allah is the best of Allahs. And the best of all ways. And whatever Allah ordained is the best. And it's the only one that has the haqq to be implemented. We cannot sacrifice our principles and our aqeedah and our base. Today, people want to use my name and go on these one-on-one like back and forth. I'm not going to waste my time with all that. Why? Because I have better things to do with my time. But I will be explicit about my own aqeedah. I'm very clear. I don't believe in things like wahdatul wujud. Because when you go into that, then you start to bring together the makhluk and the khaliq. When you say there is only one existence and everything is intermixed and everything is from that and in it, and you go into this Allah na'udhu billah being in everything, then this is only the step that we find with Ibn al-Arabi and other people who believed in that went to say that if you worship a tree, there's nothing wrong with it because it's a part of Allah. Na'udhu billah. Allah is Ta'ala. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not tolerate the worship of even the Anbiya, He did not tolerate the worship of the Salihin, He did not tolerate the worship of idols or malaika or any of this, then how can we tolerate such things? No, our aqidah has to be clear and we have to take this stance. And this is a part of Naseehah lillah. There's a lot more to it, but for the sake of time, I'll stop there. وَلِكِتَابِهِ, and to the book of Allah, to the Qur'an. Subhanallah, how do you give advice to Qur'an? No, it's a sincerity for the Qur'an. It is a love for the Qur'an, for the recitation and the understanding and the tafsir. But more than that, the implementation of the Qur'an. We talked about in the khutbah about the Hudal lil-Muttaqeen. It is a guidance. The Qur'an is a guidance. May Allah reward our Shaykh Kareem for all the work that he's doing and the themes and understanding the Qur'an that he's presenting. These are very important because you want to understand the meaning of the Qur'an. What happens in the majority of the Muslim world today, and I mean the Arabic speaking and non-Arabic, is the Qur'an is only for barakah. Yani when Ramadan comes, somebody dusts the Qur'an off the shelf, unwraps it from its nice cover, ghilaf that they have made, and then they I finished the Qur'an in half a day. I finished 3 Qur'ans today. I finished these many. Wallah, I didn't understand a verse from it. They take the Qur'an to be riwaj, like a tradition. Weddings come, the Qur'an comes out, they put it over. Some of the countries, they have this bid'ah, they want to put it over the groom or the bride as they're walking, and you know what I mean, right? Yeah. And when funerals come, then some Qur'an is recited at the head of the grave and this. Nobody understands it, nobody thinks about it, nobody ponders upon the meaning, just riwaj. They go to the Qur'an without understanding a harf, even the Arab. And they're reading it. But if you ever sit down and go over the ayah and its meaning, they don't understand it. Illa masha'Allah, except who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the tawfiq, right? But the Qur'an is a book for us to live by. The Qur'an has our aqeedah. The Qur'an has our fiqh. The Qur'an has zuhud. The Qur'an has tazkiyah. The Qur'an has akhbar, the news of the past and the future and what's going on, what will go on. The Qur'an has solutions to our daily problems. The Qur'an tells us how to govern, how to live, how to interact with people. All of that is in the Qur'an. And when I say the Qur'an, I will include in it that which is in the Sunnah. Why? Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu, once he was asked about the people who would pluck the eyebrows and make tattoos and make the space between the teeth and this, and somebody asked, is that in the Qur'an? He said, yes. So a woman, she said, I've read the Kitab Allah from cover to cover, it's not in the Qur'an. He said, it is in the Qur'an. She said, it's not. He said, didn't you read the ayat that you have to obey the messenger? Didn't you read in the Qur'an tells you to take what the messenger gives you? Then whatever the Rasul ﷺ has brought, obedience to that is from the Qur'an. Today you have some strange people, People, Allah, I don't know if they need special education or what. I believe in the Qur'an, but I don't believe in the Sunnah. Alright, let's go down that path. So you believe in the Qur'an? Yes. The Qur'an says, Aqimu as-salah, establish the salah. You believe in it? Yes. Okay, how? What time are you going to pray Fajr? In the morning. What time in the morning? Okay, how many rak'at are you going to pray Fajr? How many times are you going to make ruku'? How many times are you going to make sujood? What are you going to recite? Is it going to be adhkar, tasbihat, taslim, takbirat al-ihram? Find it. No. I just do my own way. Oh, who told you to make your own way? Where in the Qur'an did you find that? I just do what people do. Where in the Qur'an did it tell you to do what people do? No, this is nifaq, this is hypocrisy. If you believe in the Qur'an, you must believe in the Sunnah. That which is established authentically. So the sincerity to the Qur'an is we implement the laws of the Qur'an. We believe in the Sharia, the hudud, the ahkam of the Qur'an to be the best. Today our du'at, they compromise. They water it down. When it comes to aqeedah, they don't want to be clear with their aqeedah. Why? They want to get support from here and support from there, and dollars from here and pounds from there, and likes from here and views from there. No. Clear. Sifat of Allah, the Asma al-Husna, the everything that has to do with our aqeedah, clear. Stand on it. Be firm on it. Don't worry about what people will say. When it comes to hudud, somebody talks about, when you're at the park, somebody talks, you believe in that Islam, that be chopping off hands? Yeah, I do. And I think it's better than what you believe in. Let's discuss it. Imagine somebody breaks into your house and robs you and ties up your wife and rapes your daughter and all that. What are you going to do? I'll kill that guy. Well, what happened? Earlier you were getting upset about chopping hands. Now you want to kill somebody because it's your family? In the West, we have a system that's broken. We have prisons that are flooded. We have a system that everybody, Democrats, Republicans, Green Party, Libertarian, everybody, the legal system's broken. Too many people in jail. It's not benefiting anything. There's no rehabilitation. It doesn't fix it. I'm telling you, we got solutions. You tell somebody, look, you're not starving, you're not underage, you don't have any mental issues, you don't have any necessity, and you're not stealing something small, it's more than 1/4 of a gold dinar and thing, you're just stealing because you want to cause corruption and this and that, chop off a hand. In public. Let me see somebody rob you again. Wallahi, you're going to be walking around with wads of cash and people will be like, I don't even see it. Why? Because Allah knows better. It's prevention, not cure. So part of our belief and our sincerity to the Qur'an, we believe in the ahkam of the Qur'an. We believe in what Allah has, and we want to establish it on earth. And then sincerity to His Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, li rasulihi. Very, very important today. Because today we have taken the love of others above Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Na'udhu billah. Today we see somebody mention a sahih hadith, sanadan mutawatiran, through numerous chains. Ilm al-yaqini, no doubt to it. Established. And somebody will come back to it and say, well, in my culture, we don't do it. Well, forget your culture. Who cares about your culture? My Shaykh said, my Imam said, my this, my dad, my uncle, my roommate, whatever. My madhab, my this, my that. No. When something is established from Al-Mustafa alayhi salatu salam, khalas. That is deen. That is the religion. That you will not taste the sweetness of Iman until you become like that. Like the hadith I mentioned in the khutbah today. This is where you have to take love Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam more than your own parents, more than your children, more than your spouse, more than your country, more than any shaykh, any imam, any muhaddith, any alim, anybody. Nobody's love can be taken above Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everybody makes mistakes. I am more than others. Myself, of course. I'll start with myself. Filled with mistakes. Don't take my mistakes over the sunnah. But past that, great Imam and ulama make mistakes. Great Huffaz and Qur'an will be leading in the haram and they'll make a mistake. They're humans. Great shuyukh will give fatwa and make mistakes and make ruju'. They will take back their fatwa. The great scholars like a Shafi'i, pillar of knowledge. Muhammad Al-Dari says Shafi'i like one of the greatest ulama to ever walk the planet. He has a madhab qadim and jadid. And he had the old madhab before he left Baghdad, and then he had the new. He changed how many of his views? Why? New evidences, he changed his views. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, his student, how many different views do we have from him? You will say, Ruya an Ahmad hakada, wa hakada, wa hakada. He changed his views. Imam Malik, many of his views, you see them changed. Imam Abu Hanifa, great scholar, faqih, but changed so many of his views. Sometimes he would have debates with his own students like Abu Yusuf and Muhammad al-Shaybani, and after months of discussion, he would come, and this is his humbleness. He would come and say, they were right, I was wrong. They presented the evidence, I take it. But then what happened after these beautiful ulama, from the early generations, we had ta'assub, where this partisanship came. And I'm from this group, and I'm from this madrasa and this place, and then I just have to justify everything from here, no matter right or wrong. And that's wrong, because our Naseehah to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that we give precedence to the sunnah over everything else. And to the leaders of the Muslims. And this is very important. The leaders of the Muslim Ummah from the time of the Salaf till our time have made mistakes. Other than the Sahaba. We don't criticize the Sahaba, they're adilun, all of the Sahaba. After that time, in the early generations, I'm talking about still from the best generations, from the Tabi'un and Taba Tabi'un, there were mistakes that they made. We look at Tariq of Abbasiyya and Umayyah, and you look at different decisions that they made, and Marwan, Abdul Malik bin Marwan, and their things that they made mistakes. But what was the mode of operation, what was the MO of the Salaf to deal with them is through Naseehah, wanting good for them. Ikhwa, if we start to cause bloodsheds and revolutions and criticisms and this over every mistake and every sin and every incorrect ruling by a ruler, wallahi, we'll never have anybody perfect. If me and you were made rulers tomorrow, you think we'd be perfect? This is from the lack of knowing yourself. If you think that you would have billions of dollars at your disposal and unchecked power, and you would be perfectly ruling by exactly what Allah has ordained, and never doing anything wrong, and never showing nepotism, and never misusing. If you think you're going to go out there and be Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman, Ali radiyallahu anhum, and Umar ibn al-Aziz, you don't know yourself. I know myself. I ask Allah for protection from that kind of a responsibility, because it's a fitna. So what was the way? Is Naseehah, wanting good for them, not just wanting to flex by being able to point out mistakes and make jokes and things. No, really, do you really want good for them? Do you really want them to rectify and get better? And may Allah bless them in what they're doing, and may Allah forgive them for their mistakes, and may Allah correct them in what they're doing wrong? Or do you want to sit around and just try to flex, sitting in and most of us here sit in a kafir country, in a country filled with more sins than any of those Muslim lands, sitting next to people that are doing worse things than that, sitting next to family members that are doing worse things than that, and then we're like, can you believe what that guy did? Go look at what you do at night. Naseehah, well-wishing. And then for the Amat al-Muslimin, for all Muslims. We want good for them. We don't want this culture of just trying to find faults and criticisms and get views and get likes by pointing out people's mistakes. Is a very toxic culture. And Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen, rahmatullah alayh, he was from those great ulama that are a qudwa, they are an example for us. He said one time, and this is I think I know it's in his Majmu' al-Fatawa, but also in the Kitab al-Ilm, I believe the one that he wrote himself, he mentioned this. He said that in our time we were restricted to certain books like Zad and Rawd al-Murbi and things like this, and people would go through these books and there would be a structure. And then what happened is a time came that everybody started having their own ideas. And this is what we see a fitna today as well, Everybody thinks they're Shaykh al-Islam. One time Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen was speaking and he mentioned Qala Ahmad, and Imam Ahmad said. And one person in the gathering said, Shaykh, what does it matter if Ahmad said? فَهُوَ رَجُلٌ وَأَنَا رَجُلٌ. And he was a man, I'm a man. He has a statement and I have a statement, so? See, Imam Ahmad, Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen told him, حَفَظَ Ahmad. Imam Ahmad memorized ألف hadith, million hadith. كم حفظت يا أخي? How many did you memorize? Go ahead. Person hasn't memorized 10 hadith and they're like, so what if Malik said? Who is Imam Malik and who are you? And so that structure, it got destroyed. So Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen said that sometimes now we read fatwa from people that makes us want to laugh and cry at the same time. They're so ridiculous, their istidlal is so off that you want to laugh and cry at the same time. But the beautiful thing, he said, Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen said that I had an intention to collect these, to warn people against them, but I was afraid that Allah doesn't make me from those that look for people's faults. So I decided not to. Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen, he said, I was going to collect these misguided fatwa to warn people, but I was afraid that I don't become from those that look for people's faults. So I gave it up. Those were ulama. Allah have mercy upon them. They had that love for the Muslim ummah. I was in the UK recently, and I sat with one of the shuyukh that was sent there by Shaykh ibn Baz, rahmatullah alayh. And he was telling me, he said, Shaykh al-Aziz ibn Baz was blind. But he would sit and he would tell people that came from other countries, tell me how was the ahwal of the Muslims in your lands. And when they would tell him, he would cry. And then he would do everything in his power to help them. Whether it was to have letters written for them, or du'at sent to them, or money sent to them, or books sent to them, or whatever he could do. So this particular shaykh was telling me, he said, I was shaykh with Shaykh ibn Baz. I sat with him and he sent me to Africa first. And he sent me to certain countries and he told me the people there have this need and this, go and help them and be with them. And then when the need in the UK came, he sent me to the United Kingdom. And I thought, subhanAllah, look at this shaykh. He was sitting there, but he was concerned about the whole ummah. He wanted for the whole ummah. He was worried about the whole ummah. And that is something we forget today. How to really want good for your brothers. That is Naseehah. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those that don't just listen to listen, but they listen to implement. Every talk you sit in is a hujjah. It is a evidence. And if you don't sit in it, then you have double hujjah. One, why didn't you go to it? And second, why you didn't implement. One of the shuyukh we were with many years ago, one of the brothers asked a question. The shaykh gave the correct answer. The brother said, man, I wish I hadn't asked you, because now, what I've been doing was wrong and now I can't do it. The shaykh said, if you didn't ask, you would have two sins. One for not doing it correctly, and second for not asking. So yes, you need to seek knowledge. These types of conferences, these types of, we often hear from people that we're in this area and we don't have ulama and we don't have du'at and we can't go here and Khalas, Allah brought them to you. du'at and shuyukh, Shaykh Kareem and Shaykh Ibrahim and others, Allah brought them to you. And you have this opportunity. You must take advantage of it. And every lesson that you hear, you need to change your life from it. You need to implement something new. Revise, think. I listened to Shaykh Kareem, I listened to these people of knowledge. What did I benefit? Not just learn, because maybe you knew all of this. But there is something in your life that you are not implementing correctly and you know better than others. And take this opportunity to change that. And I say the same for myself. Every talk I give or I sit in, I hope from myself that I'm bettering myself. If not, I'm wasting my own time. Everybody else will have their reward, but I'm wasting my time. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to begin this conference. Today was the first day on taqwa, on obedience to the Qur'an and Sunnah, and on the way of the Sahaba and the Salaf al-Ummah. Alhamdulillah, we see even earlier in the Jummah we were seeing packed out the door. We see all these brothers even going through a snowstorm and all the things. But Alhamdulillah, you're here. May Allah accept it from you, and may Allah bless you and increase you and give you istiqamah. This is the time that you need to make your niyyah that I'm going to be here throughout the conference, and I'm going to call my friends and I'm going to tell them, who cares if there's a snowstorm? And people go through snowstorm to listen to stupid music and watch hockey games and things like that. But we are here to learn the deen of Allah. And if you think this storm's hard for you, I'm from San Diego. Imagine me. But alhamdulillah, we ask Allah to accept it. And the more the sacrifice, the more the reward. Wa jazakumullahu khairan.